There are so many ways to cook pork, especially pork belly like this. In Chinese cooking, one of the way that we do it is called Hong Shao Rou in Mandarin and Hong Xiu Yok in Cantonese. And talking about the flavor, you have everything that you can imagine. There is soy sauce for the savory flavor, the caramelized sugar for the sweetness, and also the aromatic flavor from the scallion and also the ginger and the spices. The flavor is fantastic because pork belly has a fair share of lean and fat, and it is perfect for braising. So let's do it together today, and let's start with dealing with the pork first. For this piece of pork belly, it is quite clean. There is no visible hair on the surface. In fact, I don't need to do anything. But if, let's say, if there are some hair on top, what you can do is you can use a blowtorch to burn it off. Or if you do not have a blowtorch at home, you can put the skin side onto a hot wok, and that will burn it off, and then you just wash it away. So I don't need to do that today, but for demonstration, I'll just show you how to use the wok to do it. Just heat it up. We don't have to put any oil into it. And then you put it this way. That means the skin is to the bottom, just like that, to burn off the hair if there's any. Because there's a lot of fat, it will not stick onto the wok or your skillet. And it will look like that. So just scrape it away by using your knife and use some water to wash it. Then we can proceed to the next step to cut the pork into small pieces. I would prefer to cut the pork slightly bigger than the size that you want, because when I braise the pork will shrink slightly during the braising process. Look at the pork. It is layered with fat and lean meat, and that is why it is very flavorful and is very tender after braising. So just cut it into small pieces. You don't need to remove the skin because the skin is equally flavorful. Now before I braise the pork, very important, put the pork into the wok or a pan. You don't need to put oil because the oil will start to render out from the fat afterwards. See, it will not stick. And the purpose of doing this step is to brown it on all sides so that it brings out the flavor. Now most of the pork has already changed color. Remove it. I do not want to cook it for too long, otherwise it has a counter effect because the pork will then become too dry instead. Next, I add a little bit of oil into a pan to make some caramelized sugar. And this is my brown sugar. You can use white sugar if you want. Wait for a while. When it is heated, then I'll add the sugar into it. The sugar will start to melt due to the heat. And this will provide that very much needed reddish color for this dish. Hong Xiu Yok in Cantonese or Hong Shao Rou in Mandarin, literally you can translate into English as red cooked pork. So it got to be slightly reddish, and the colors come from here. Smell the aroma. Add a bit of water. Cook it down. Okay, that is my caramelized syrup. Let me get back to my pork. This pork is very fresh. I get it from the market. It's never frozen and there's no smell. And that's the reason I actually skip a step of blanching it before I cut it into small pieces just now. If you have a pork that you get it from the supermarket, is frozen, or you can smell a little bit of unflavorable smell, what you can do is just take the whole slab of pork before cutting it, put it into a pot of water, and then you add some scallion, then you add some ginger, a little bit of wine, let it boil for 5 minutes and take it out. It will remove that porky smell. Okay, let's continue. The next step is to braise the pork. So this is a pork, put it into a pot. The spices I use, there are two, the star anise and the cinnamon bark. If you have bay leaf, you can also add 2 or 3 bay leaf into it. And then some spring onion or scallion, some ginger slices. Now the ginger, I will remove it after braising. That's why I don't even bother to remove the skin of the ginger. And then my caramelized sugar syrup, light soy sauce, and dark soy sauce. I will leave the quantity of each ingredient in the description box for your reference. Some Chinese wine, Shaoxing wine. Then water, just enough to submerge all the ingredients. And then just turn up the heat and bring it to a boil. Mix well. And I love this dish because it is so forgiving and it is so easy to make. So just wait for a little while until it comes to a boil. When it comes to a boil, turn down the heat to lowest possible. Barely simmer. And because I did not blanch the pork this time, so you will expect there will something that is floated on top, and remove it, all these scums on top, to keep it clean. Keep it at the lowest heat possible and let it simmer slowly until it becomes tender. It may take about 45 to 1 hour, and we'll come back later. Braise it for about 45 minutes now. The water level has much reduced, but still a lot. The color turns much darker now. Let's add some salt at this moment. I didn't add the salt earlier because if I add it earlier, it will make it drier. Let's try this and see whether it is already tender. Juicy and tender, very succulent. Remove the pork, and then I will concentrate the braising liquid to turn it into a gravy. Remove the ginger and the spring onion and other solids by passing it through a strainer so that I can get a clean braising liquid. Return the clean liquid to the pot, switch on the stove and thicken it. After reducing the liquid nearly by half, I then return the pork back to it and let the pork absorb all the flavor from the thickened gravy. And I will just continue cooking this way and let the liquid reduce further to become a thick sauce so that the sauce will be able to literally cling onto the pork. So the gravy has become quite thick and it should be able to coat the surface of a metal spoon. And I also have some extra sauce over here which I'm going to drizzle it on top after I put it onto the serving plate. Second thought, I put it in a clay pot instead, which looks much better than just an ordinary serving plate. And garnish with some vegetables. It is nice to serve with vegetables, especially green vegetables, and go with some steamed rice. It's very, very good. And of course, my glorious, beautiful sauce. And finish it with some chopped scallion. I can tell you the flavor is so distinct. It's savory, it's slightly sweet, it is very aromatic, and the texture is simply springy, not only tender. If you want to try it at home, I have included the recipe in the description below the videos and also at the end of this video for your reference. And please subscribe, tap the notification, give me a thumbs up, try it at home, let me know the result. I would like to hear from you. Thanks for watching, bye for now.